So in today's video, we're talking about finesse worms, and well, I just happen to have the world's largest finesse worm right here. It's so big, in fact, I had to pull out the actual human scale in order to weigh it. And even then, it gets a little bit tricky, but once we get the scale on, if we set it on there, we're hitting about 7.2, 7.1. I got it up as high as 7.4. So we're definitely looking at over 7 pounds worth of an MF soft plastic finesse worm. All right, so if we take this thing out and measure the full length, let's see, what are we clocking in at here? Oh my, that's a big worm. $56.5, no, stretch it out, 57 inches. Just over 4.5 feet long. All right, so you might be asking yourself, if we're talking about finesse worms today, why on earth do we have the world's largest soft plastic worm? Well, that's because today we are celebrating all of you, the subscribers. And so we'll get into why this plays an important role in the video today, as well as the channel, and how you can win some pretty awesome prizes. All that coming up in today's video. What's going on, all my fellow bait chuckers out there? My name is Michael. Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you haven't figured it out by now, in today's video, we are talking all about worms. Awesome finesse worms, world's biggest worms, and big cavity worm molds. Now, we got a lot to cover today because I know it's been a few months since the last video, but we are going to give all of you subscribers a chance to win some awesome prizes for today. But if you're new here and you don't want to hear all the housekeeping and how to win some really cool molds, well, luckily for you, down below in the description, I have the entire video chaptered out. So if you want to jump ahead to the bait making, you got all of the chapters down below. And speaking of the description down below, that brings us to our very first announcement. You all know that in the descriptions, I always link to all of the tackle that I use in every single one of the videos. Anytime we talk about how to rig up some baits, I always include links to not only the molds that we use in the video, but links to all of the baits in the description down below. Well, now I am happy to announce that we are part of the Tackle Warehouse affiliate program, and all of the links down below now are Tackle Warehouse affiliate links. And just by doing your shopping at Tackle Warehouse, you are helping out me and the channel, and just the ability to bring you guys all content on a more full-time basis, which is ultimately the goal. I'm super pumped to be working with Tackle Warehouse because I've been a fan of theirs for years. I don't even know how many thousands of dollars I spent at Tackle Warehouse. Plus, what I'm super excited to announce, even more so than the partnership with them, is that my hollow shift powders and Siren scales will now be available on tacklewarehouse.com. 8-Bit Baits is now going to be available at Tackle Warehouse, which I am so pumped about. I'm super excited to be working with the team over there at Tackle Warehouse. So now if any of you have gift cards or want to take part in sales, every time they have sales and all that fun stuff, you can grab some of your 8-Bit Baits powders over there at Tackle Warehouse. Now, of course, I always appreciate it when you make the purchases directly from me at 8bitbaits.com, but just also happy to provide all of you another option. So if we don't have something in stock, you can always check Tackle Warehouse. Maybe they have a particular color in stock, and vice versa. So super excited about that. And I guess I can finally say that today's video was sponsored by me, myself, and I. 8-Bit Baits, baby. We're doing it. I can't believe we're actually doing this. This is pretty incredible. Thanks to all of you, the subscribers. Which brings us to this big, giant worm. The world's largest worm. Well, now, to be fair, this isn't the largest worm anymore. I did confirm with Mixmaster J over at MF that when this was first invented, these molds, it was at one point in time the world's largest worm at 5 feet long. However, someone did beat the record, and there is a mold that is a little bit bigger, or there was at one time. I don't know if that mold still exists, but this one still does, and Mixmaster J is able to make these on the fly. So he made us a giant worm. You may have seen it in an unboxing video we did a while back that was actually part of a live stream where we got a whole bunch of stuff sent to us from MF, and some of that stuff we're going to be giving away in today's video. So here's how this big giant worm is going to fit into my master plan. At first, when this big giant thing showed up, I wasn't really sure what it was that I wanted to do with it, but we recently hit a milestone of hitting 4,000 subscribers. So about 6 months ago, Epic Bait Molds released the high cavity count of their finesse worm molds. And I already have a set of the finesse worm molds, but they're all in the smaller 4 cavity count, which is what they've, always been available in it. Some are 4, some are 5, but they're small cavity count molds here. Now, right about the time that these high cavity count molds were released, I was just about to pass 2,000 subscribers. So I reached out to Amanda over at Epic Bait Molds and wanted to partner up with them for a giveaway. She agreed to supply me with a set of 2 new high cavity count finesse worm molds as long as I would give away my old molds that I wasn't going to be using anymore, which I was totally okay with, and I actually think is quite an awesome idea. So that's in fact what we're going to be giving away today. But that was 6 months ago, and we were at 2,000 subscribers. Well, now we're at 4,000 subscribers, and well, I think giving away just one prize at 4,000 subscribers isn't going to do it. So we're going to give away 4 prize packs. Grand prize is going to be a set of the 5-inch finesse worm molds as well as the 7-inch finesse worm molds by Epic Bait Molds. This is going to be the grand prize. But along with this giant worm came a bunch of other smaller molds, and I have got a bunch of prize packs all put together that include a bunch of old molds from MF. These are old acrylic hand pour molds. So here's how it's going to go down. I got both channel partners involved now. We got Epic Bait Molds, who has supported us since our very second video. Awesome to have Epic Bait Molds as part of the bait chucking team, as well as MF, who is an early partner of the channel as well. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving away these 4 prize packs to celebrate crossing 4,000 subscribers. And I want to keep track of how many subscribers we have. So we built this awesome mount, and you can see currently we're tracking at 4.2 thousand subscribers. But this is going to take us all the way up to 100,000 subscribers. You can see that right there. So what are we going to do when we hit 100,000 subscribers? Well, it's easy. We're going to fish the worm, of course. I mean, what else are you going to do with a 5-foot worm but fish it? I mean, something in the ocean's got to bite this thing. Come on. Yeah. All right. 100,000 subscribers. Well, we're going to fish this worm or what? We got a lot of work to do. So if you want to get in on your chance to win this awesome set of Epic Bait Molds finesse worms, 5-inch and 7-inch respectively, then, well, it's real easy. Just make sure you're subscribed to the channel and leave a comment in this video down below that has the word Epic in it. Doesn't matter how you use it, get creative, but go ahead and leave the word Epic down below, and then in the next video we'll go ahead and pick 4 awesome winners. We will do that on video, so don't believe anybody reaching out to you in the comments section. Be careful of scammers and everything down there. So what do you say we bust open these large cavity count molds, huh? See what we're working with. Alright, and so for our color today, I can't think of any other color that shows off a worm mold better than motor oil. So I'm going to be showing you my little twist on it, something I like to call MIKEY'S motor oil. So to start things off, we're going to kick it off with the MF motor oil. Now this is the current version that you can buy today. It is the revised edition, but we're going to spice it up to get back to that original motor oil by adding in a little bit of the Lureworks Jelly Apple Red dye. Now keep in mind, if you don't have the Jelly Apple Red, you can use the Cherry Red dye, but I like to use the Jelly Apple Red. I think it gets it a little bit closer to the original, having known what's in the original. As for glitter, we're gonna enhance that red a little bit with some Lureworks small .015 fire red flake. And then to top it all off, to add that little chef's kiss, we are gonna go with the 8-Bit Baits Siren scales. We're using the color Murloc. This is a nice gold to green shifting flake. It's just gonna blend in nicely with the red flake and give us an amazing motor oil color that looks awesome in these worms. Here we are with a fresh cup of plastisol. A little bit of moisture in there. You can definitely see the bubbles, but that's all right. The vacuum pump will take care of that. So first off, we're going to start with the motor oil, and we're going to use 35 drops. All right, and as we get that mixed in there, you can see we have our green motor oil with that brown on the edges as it comes out there. Beautiful, but you can see it's heavy on the green side and a little bit of brown comes out, but you see right there at the tip of the knife, we want some more red in there. So this is where our Jelly Apple Red comes in. We are going to be adding 10 drops of the Jelly Apple Red. All right, I know it doesn't seem like much when you're looking from the top down at the cup, but that is enough of that red to really brown it out just a little bit, and it's going to get us back towards what the original motor oil recipe was. Now to spruce that up, we are going to be tossing in the .015 fire red flake from Lureworks. Because it is the 0.15, I like to do just 1/16 of a teaspoon. I think that's going to be plenty for what we need today, and it's just going to give us a light sprinkling of red. Do you see that in there? Now we just got that little bit of red sparkle to really help bring out that red flash in there, but not too much, just a nice little peppering, you know what I mean? You know what I mean. All right, and last but not least, some Siren scales. Again, we are going with the SS005, the Murloc. The Murloc is awesome. You can see it has a nice green to gold shift to it, and this really will play well in the motor oil. That gold will kind of have a copper effect, and the green will just play off the green in the motor oil. So we're going to go with 2 heaping scoops, and you can see it's very lightweight. The Siren scales can go everywhere, so definitely don't have your fan blowing directly on top of your work area when you're applying your Siren scales, otherwise they will blow out and get all over the place. So now we're going to give this a good mix up here. Make sure we break up all those chunks. The Siren scales sometimes like to clump together, so you really got to make sure you mix everything in well. All right, and there you can see, look at that beautiful gold chunks in there, along with the red flake. An awesome, awesome color. This is going to look fantastic in the worms. I hope you all make this recipe at home. It is phenomenal. Okay, and here we are. Now that the motor oil is all vacuumed, bubbles are removed, we are nice and hot, ready for injection. Look at that, huh? Is that not a thing of beauty? Such a difference it makes when all the bubbles are out, huh? All right, so we're going to get this nice and stirred, and we're going to start off with the small cavity mold because I want to show you one of the biggest issues that you come across when you have small cavity molds like this. All right, here we go. I'm going to uptake it. Remember, we started with 1 cup of plastisol. We'll do the big worms first. There we go. Beautiful. Injection was great. Our molds are nice and warm. You can see we got the hot plate on the 52 degrees Celsius there. Okay, we'll do the smaller 5-inch. Awesome. Injection felt great. Fantastic. And here's what that motor oil looks like on the edge of the injector. You can see the red flake, the Siren scales all playing a part, and you can see that nice beautiful red kind of root beer Coca-Cola brown coming through. Absolutely fantastic. This is why I love motor oil. Such a good color. Okay, so if the entire injection went according to plan, what is wrong with using the small cavity molds? Well, this is the actual problem right here. If you remember, we started with 1 cup of plastisol, and when everything is squirted back in there, we still have darn near 1 cup of plastisol. That is because there's not many cavities in these molds. What this means is, in order to do large batches, right, I mean, we're going to have to inject each of these twice just to get a total of 10 worms per size. That's just to get, 1 bag's worth of worms. So that means we're going to have to reheat this multiple times in order to get the number of injections that we need in order to fill your worms. And as those of you know, now it's not an issue for the Siren scales, but some colors and flake, the more you reheat it over and over again, you're going to degrade the color, you're going to degrade the flake, and what the worms you get at the end are not going to match the same color and quality of flake and sparkle that you have from the first injection. So the larger molds that we have over here, the larger cavity molds, these are going to allow you to inject more of your plastisol in the first go, which will help you with consistency. And if you're only running a cup at a time, it's going to allow you to use most of the plastic in 1 set of injections. This is why anytime possible, I try and get the largest cavity count possible, because I know I'm going to get the best colors out of it, because it means less injections and less reheating of the plastisol. Alright, so let's start off by taking a look at what these worms even look like. Here is the 5-inch Finesse worm. These molds are piping hot because we got plastisol in them. They were warmed up. Oh, look at that. Beautiful injection. Let me get you zoomed in here. You see that red coming through that I was talking about? That green to red, I mean, it's hard to beat a motor oil changeable. Look at those worms. Oh, ho, ho. Awesome, awesome stuff. Again, I love how the worms are rounded on the top, flat here on the bottom. You can see the flat side there. That green coming through. The red sparkle mixed in with the Murloc Siren scales, giving it that gold green effect. I mean, just rolling around in my hand, you can see the amazing sparkle and shimmer that we get, and all the colors changing. I'm telling you, fish just can't help themselves. It's motor oil. I mean, it's awesome. Okay, I have no doubt the 7-inch Finesse worm will look just as good. Everything wants to come out on different sides. Look at that, huh? Ooh, baby, baby, baby. Look at that green when you look at it from one angle, and then pop, boom, here comes that red. Look at those worms. That is some awesome looking worms right there. Ooh, I love that motor oil. All right, so now that we got everything heated back up, we're just under 1 cup of plastisol here. Let's take up a full injector and see if we can't inject both of these large cavity molds and see how much of this we actually go through. We're going to get the injector nice and full with as much plastisol as possible, making sure to avoid air bubbles. Yeah, see that? That took up a bunch of plastic. Those big 7-inchers took a ton, and I might not even have enough to do the large cavity of the 5-inchers. I hope so. Oh yeah, just barely. Alright, I'm going to top the other one off. And you can see there's not much left. Took up almost the entire cup of plastisol just using those large cavities. Let me make sure we top this off here because we don't want any air bubbles. And that, to me, is a huge benefit of large cavity molds because you can use up your entire color in almost one shot. So that means everything's going to be consistent. We're basically going to get one pack of worms out of this mold, another pack of worms out of this mold, one for each size. And this is awesome because all the colors are going to match. It uses up almost the entire cup. And what we're left with is just a tiny tad bit of leftovers there. That's what I call a perfect injection. All right, so let's take a look at the large cavity molds. Again, that mirror finish, you can see the camera. What's going on, everybody? Awesome stuff. All right, so the 5-inch Finesse worm, 10 cavity mold. What? Nope, of course it never goes according to plan. But there we go. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. I don't see any major air bubbles right off of the bat. So that's good. That means we had a successful injection, but there you go, 10 worms, one full pack. Awesome. The consistency, absolutely beautiful. Now, one of the downsides though is you do have the longer runner, but you'll see how this comes into play in just a second here. So you don't want to remount your runners after your first injection. I'll show you why. But oof, those look gorgeous. Let's take a look at the 7-inch here. All right. Again, everything is just going to come off on whatever side that it wants to come off on. Look at that. Awesome. Again, an entire full pack of worms in one shoot. That's what I'm talking about. Beautiful motor oil color change. That kind of Coca-Cola reddish brown with the green. Absolutely pops in the water. All of that sparkle and flash in there. The Siren scales, the red flake. It's Shimmer City. I mean, you can see it. Okay, so I wanted to give you a good look at this motor oil from the sun and give you an idea of how the sun interacts with changeable colors. A wise sensei once taught me that the afternoon sunlight is the best time to be checking lights for baits. It's about 3:15, 3:30 in the afternoon, and it is the perfect angle of the sun. Now right now the sun is coming from left to right on your screen. It is kind of shooting directly across the baits. And you can see at this angle, we get a little bit of the changeable. But that's because you get one color when the sun shines on it and one color when the sun shines through it. So if we were to kind of rotate here more to the east, so the afternoon sun is in that western sky there, you can see you get more of the green. You get a very sharp, kind of chartreusey green reflection there, okay? But now if we rotate the camera back around, and now we're perfectly parallel, okay? Facing east-west, and now we're gonna rotate a little more towards the west, and you can see this is where the changeable really starts to shine through. And that's where that kind of root beer, Coca-Cola red really starts to come through. And it's that interaction that you get with the sun when that worm is down in the water, bouncing around, wiggling around, that color's changing, and it looks extremely realistic and definitely entices a bite. So there you go, just a look at the baits outside so you can see how the changeables have an effect. Really cool effect on the colors. The ooze is another great one. I'll make sure to put a link to that video in the upper right hand corner of your screen. Check out the ooze, an amazing chartreuse to pink changeable color. And we got a whole video showing you how to make that one as well. Okay, so here we are. A problem that we run into all the time. I know you've been here before, and if you're new to bait making and you haven't gotten here yet, you're gonna cross this bridge real quickly. So here we are, the issues that come up when you have a large scale mold, right? And what I'm talking about is we got these molds with lots of large cavities, and one of the downsides to having a large mold is that they require a lot of plastisol. We saw the benefit of using a lot of plastisol because we get all the color injected, but now we end up in this situation here, more often than not, where we have a little bit of plastisol left. You can see the injector has already been cleaned out. This is all we got left, but we don't want to waste this color. I mean, this is a beautiful color. It's still in great shape. We really want to take advantage of it and squeeze as many worms as possible. Well, here is an amazing trick. You see how I saved the runner? I told you we were going to need that runner. So we saved the runner for both of our molds. And what you can do is just take them and lay them right back into your mold. And now what we can do is, because this fits in perfectly to your mold, this is going to act as a plug, so to speak. So let's say we want to come down and we want, 4 more worms of this color. Then we can snip this off right here, include the bottom half in the mold, which will block off these bottom cavities and only fill the top. Now, taking a look at everything here, I think if we sacrifice this runner right here, we will have enough to get 5 more worms out of the 5-inch, and so that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, so heading back over here to our workbench, what we're going to want to do is count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we really need to snip this right about here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this runner, okay, and I'm just going to snip it off, just like that. And then we're just going to place it in the mold, just like that. So now when we do our injection, you can see these top 5 worms will be filled, but the bottom half will be plugged. And again, you can shorten this or lengthen this to whatever size that you need. And this way you can still shoot 2 if you wanted to, or 3, however many you want. Again, I think you can turn a negative into a positive with a large cavity mold. Again, save your runner. And then again, if this is a color we didn't care about too much, we could just keep using the same runner over and over and over as a plug and just snip off the new colors after the injection. Because we're perfectly aligned, we get a beautiful closed mold, and we are ready for injection. Let's not forget to throw this into the cup. All right, here we are with our remaining bit of plastisol, and I think we'll be able to get enough in there in order to get this last couple worms. So let's give it a shot. Do the old cup tilt here to make sure we get all the plastisol. We don't want any air bubbles. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, plenty. We probably could have done the full mold, but for demonstration purposes, we're getting the point across. Oh yeah, we probably could have gotten 1 or 2 more worms out of there. All right, here we go. The moment of truth, the 5-inch finesse worm, half filled cavities, and we were able to keep it all on that one side, and look at that. Huh? There we have 1 set of worms, which is equivalent to the original small cavity count mold. 5 out of 10, 50%. And you can see with the plug, you can't even tell that there was a plug used. Awesome. I mean, that's good stuff right there. And there we go, a set of 5 worms utilizing our original sprue as a plug. So we only have to fill half of the mold or however many cavities that we want. Awesome little trick for you there. Again, just all the more reason to pick yourself up a large cavity mold. I really enjoy them. And if you like these molds, I will have links to them down below in the description. Everybody, so that is going to wrap it up for this video. But before we go, I just want to stop and give a special shout out and thank you to all of you who are still watching the video right now. And as an extra special thank you, if you plan on entering the contest we mentioned earlier, if you include the word motor oil in your comment, in addition to the code word we mentioned earlier in the video, we'll make sure to include a set of these worms along with your prize package. I appreciate all of you watching this far. So until next time, y'all know who it is. Your friend on this end, Michael, out here around these Delta sloughs, reminding you to keep on chucking. I'll get back with you.